I'm Caitlin Matson. This is the Green Room. Lynne Davis, professor of organ at Wichita State University, is joining me to talk all about their upcoming concert and just their organ series in general. Welcome, Lynne.
Thank you, Caitlin, for having me.
Tell us what's coming up.
Well, we have an exciting year with our three guest artists for the Reed Bloomfield Organ Series, and we just had Clive Driscoll Smith, a British organist, and the next one is very exceptional. It's the organ and orchestra concert, and the orchestra of the School of Music of Wichita State is my guest artist, as well as Mark Laycock, the conductor.
Wichita State University Symphony Orchestra with Mark coming into Wiedemann to make music with that beautiful organ. Tell us what's on the program.
We have things that are not very many times performed together. We have the Grand Chœur Dialogué, which means a big dialogue between the orchestra and the organ by Eugène Gigoux, French composer. Then the great organ concerto for strings and percussion by Poulenc, Francis Poulenc. Something that's not very often performed is the Guillemot, Alexandre Guillemot Orchestra and Organ Concerto, Opus 42. And then a Christmas holly jolly sing-along with
Excellent.
orchestra, organ, and the audience.
Oh, I love that. And you always do something around the Christmas time anyway. Is this your only Christmas recital, or do you go on to do a Wednesday in Wiedemann that's Christmas themed?
Well, this is a combined effort on my part to do the Christmas program of Wednesdays in Wiedemann and our distinguished guest artists. And it's just combined this year,
Mhm.
actually because of the dates. And this is just after Thanksgiving, and the orchestra usually has a concert as well. So I thought we'd just combine the two or the three and have a jolly time in Wiedemann.
So the concert is Monday, November the 28th in Wiedemann Hall at 7:30. You can get tickets right there in the lobby. The box office opens an hour before, or you can call the box office at 316-978-3233, or go online to the Fine Arts box office and reserve your tickets online as well. Uh, I couldn't help but notice, and I'm sure our listeners did as well, you were obviously fluent in French. And
Yes,
I know your background because I've read your bio and I've spoken with you before, but
yes.
listeners might not. Now, would you please tell us a little bit of a story about why you're so fluent in French?
Well, after I studied at the University of Michigan, I went over for just 1 year to Paris to study with Marie-Claire Alain. And she was sick, so I ended up staying another year. I met my future husband, and instead of 1 year, I stayed 35 years. And then I came back here, completing the circle, coming back to the States 35 years after I went to Paris. And that was, well, I can't tell you how long it was ago because that would tell you how old I am, but
I won't make you say.
okay.
It's not possible that you were working someplace else for 35 years. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's
Um, and you still return. I mean, I see updates from you where you are back in Paris. I
I
imagine you
go,
probably go as often as you can because it feels like home to you now.
well, it is. And my daughter, who was born and raised over there, lives there with her family, two little girls as well. So I go there about 3 times a year. I perform in France. I'll be going back this Christmas and back this coming summer to play in places in France and also in Rome at the end of March.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We're going to give people a little bit of a peek about some of the repertoire coming up on this concert on the 25th. We're going to hear
The
the
28th.
yes, the 28th um, in Wiedemann Hall. We're going to hear part of the Poulenc Concerto for Organ, Strings, and Percussion. Now, this is, as far as organ works go, well known. Is it a staple of the repertoire? Is it something that if you know organ repertoire, if you enjoy it, it's something you would have heard before?
Oh, definitely. This is one of the biggest works for organ and orchestra, and it is a main staple of our repertoire.
All right, we're going to listen to just a little bit about of it, and then we're going to come back and talk more with Lynne Davis. This is part of the Poulenc Organ Concerto for organ, strings, and percussion. We'll be back to talk more with Lynne Davis in the green room. The organist Simon Preston with the Boston Symphony Poulenc's Organ Concerto, which is on the program of the next Distinguished Artist Concert of the Bloomfield Organ Series. And the distinguished artists are not only Mark Laycock and the Wichita State University Symphony Orchestra, but organ professor Lynne Davis herself, who is in the green room with me. Lynne, being an organist, it seems like such a skill in multitasking, because not only are your arms busy, your hands are busy, but your feet are busy. You know, you're pulling out your stops. Your feet never quit. What does it feel like to play an instrument that takes such incredible focus and coordination?
Well, that's the word, coordination, but it's if anybody has been a computer programmer, I think I would liken playing the organ to that, because not only are your limbs all occupied, your eyes everywhere, and your ears noting what sounds you're pulling out. You have to, your mind then is governing all this. And so it's everything that's working now, which is really wonderful. It's an orchestra in one instrument. So we'll have the orchestra on the 28th with different players, but I'll be the performer at another orchestra with keyboards. So it'll be, that's quite interesting in itself.
Two orchestras,
Two
duetting.
Duetting.
So sometimes you'll hear somebody improvise. A piece calls for an organ improvisation. We hear it a lot of time. Oh, a lot of time, we'll hear it on Sunday in church. Well, before the final stanza of a hymn, the organ improvises, or, a little interlude. When you're improvising, in terms of the orchestration and the stops and all of that, is that part of the orchestration? Like in the moment, you decide what stops, what voices you want heard?
Yes, and we have families of flutes, of principals, which is particular to the organ, reeds, and it really depends on the mood you want to create. If you're playing a stanza of a hymn, you have a certain thing you want to portray or share. Or if it's in a concert, you're improvising on a theme that's been given to you. You're improvising a whole symphony with different movements. It really depends on what you want to portray and put over in the theme that you're playing.
It's just fascinating. And when you play a work by a composer, they dictate the voicing in the score, or oftentimes do they leave those decisions up to you?
Well, both. In Baroque music, we have to have a knowledge of performance practice, which means what would they have used on the organs that they had at their disposal. In more modern pieces, there are indications of what we call registration, and that's the choice of the sounds that are at our fingertips, literally at our fingertips, in the stops that are at the sides of the organ console.
Mm. November the 28th, Monday, November the 28th at 7:30, the next Bloomfield Organ Series concert is Christmas in Wiedemann with Lynne Davis featured on the organ and Mark Laycock conducting the Wichita State University Orchestra. For tickets, you can go to the Wichita State University Fine Arts box office. You can also navigate to the box office by checking out the organ page on the Wichita State University website, which is wichita.edu/organ.
Right.
And the phone number is 316-978-3233. Lynne, remind us once again what all is on the program on the 28th.
A beautiful dialogue between the organ and the orchestra, very loud, by Eugène Gigoux, organ concerto by Francis Poulenc, the organ concerto opus 42 by Alexandre Guillemot, not often played, and holly and jolly sing-along between the audience, the orchestra, the organ, and we'll have a great time.
Kicking off the Christmas season. That this is the Monday after Thanksgiving, correct?
Yes, yes, it's a Monday and not Tuesday for parking reasons. So we are doing it on a Monday. Don't come on Tuesday.
Don't come on Tuesday. They'll what? Usher you to a basketball game or something.
Exactly. That's it.
Oh, go support this incredible organ series. It really is a gem that we have in Wichita, this beautiful organ. And what is the name of the organ exactly?
The organ builder is Markussen, over 200 years old, from Denmark. And of course, Wiedemann Hall, both of them are gems on this campus and in the community. And it's a joy to be able to bring it to such a big public. And it'll be live streamed, of course. The concert will be live streamed, but please come in person. It will be a lot more fun in person this
Well,
time.
gosh, I would imagine just part of it is feeling the vibration of the organ.
Oh, yes, indeed. No telling what the orchestra is going to do with Mark Laycock in charge.
That sounds great.
That's more vibration right there.
Oh, fantastic. It sounds like a wonderful evening. Again, that is Monday night, the 28th at 7:30 in Wiedemann Hall. Thank you, Lynn, for joining me in the green room. Have a wonderful concert and a really wonderful holiday season as well.
Thank you, Caitlin. I appreciate your help.
Of course.